Welcome back. Now that we have introduced the course, it's time to start coding. In this lesson, we'll set up our Flutter project and the necessary dependency and structure our app for scalability and maintainability. To get started, first open your VS Code. So I'm going to search for Visual Studio Code. So make sure you have it installed already. All right. So here is my project. You can see currently it's empty. Nothing has been done. So with this, we are going to create a new Flutter project with all the default files. So what I'm going to do is press Ctrl Shift P if you are on Mac device, but if you're on Android, Ctrl Shift P, right? But for iOS, Command Shift P. Once you do that, you see new project. So we're going to name this Rise App. Okay. Okay, let's just call it Rise. Oh, new project, sorry. Then you click on application. It's going to ask you to select where you want to save the file. So let's just select this place and we'll give the name Rise. So as you can see, we have our core app and everything is creating. So just give it some few seconds for it to create. All right, now that our project is set up, let's move on to adding the essential dependency that we'll need. So we'll be using several powerful Flutter packages to build our app. Let's add them to prospect.yml file. So you go to your prospect.yml file, and I'll only be adding the UI related dependency for now. So later when we start integrating with Firebase and database, we are going to add more dependency. So at the moment, we are using int, URL launcher, provider, cached network image. Okay, I think I need to remove this. We are also using carousel. So the int dependency is used for formatting our dates. URL launcher is used to launch URL to an external website. Then provider is our default state management package that we are going to be using. Then cached network image is to cache our network image once we fetch it so that we are not going to be reloading every time we want to display an image. Then carousel slider is used for showing carousel data, right? On the habit dashboard, you notice that I was able to swipe during the overview. Then we have the avatar stack. You'll see how I use all these stuffs. Then we use Google Fonts to specify the fonts that we want to use in our project. Then we have animate do to animate we use it to animate the leaderboard icon. All right. So these are pretty much all the dependencies that we need to get this running. Also run your Flutter pop get to make sure that everything is completely installed, because Flutter will fetch and install this dependency. All right. So now that we are done with this, let's talk about structuring our project the right way. So I will quickly show us Flutter projects can be messy if we don't organize files properly. We are going to use clean code architecture to keep things modular and scalable. And I will also be introducing MVVM pattern with feature first approach. So here I have this view of how the project looks like. I already have architecture, feature-based MVVM. Rise follows a feature-first MVVM architecture using provider for state management. This ensures scalability, modularity, and clean separation of concerns. So as you can see, I have my core directory where I have core utilities and global services. Then I have my features where I have each of the features inside of this directory. We have the data domain presentation that shows anything related to UI and state management. Then the data are all data handling, where we are going to put our models and all our repositories. Then we have domain for business logic. Yeah, we might not really use this domain, but let's just see how the project progresses. Now we have a shared directory where we have our widgets, model, services. Okay, so this structure makes it easy to add new features, makes it easy to debug and scale the app in the future. All right, so I'm just going to quickly go to our project and create those different files structure so we can actually understand. So here on my lib folder, I'm going to create app.dat. So I'm going to show you guys later how we can, write code in all these stuffs. Then I have my core directory. Inside the core directory, I have the config. So the config, I'm going to put the app config, constants, and every other thing. So I have config here, and I also have, right, let me zoom this out so we can see what I'm doing. All right, so here I also have the, inside core, I have the team, right? We are going to put all our team data, app colors, and all those stuff to beautify our app. Then finally, we have utils folder. The utils folder is supposed to be inside the core. Yeah. So, like so. All right, so this is it for the core. Then the next thing we are going to create is the features directory. So these features, say we have authentication, right? We have the authentication feature. All right, sorry about that. So we have the authentication feature. Inside the authentication feature, let's just say auth, we are going to create another feature, which is community. And we also have different features. We have leaderboard feature. We have the home screen, which is the habit dashboard. So I'll call this home screen. And then we have the profile as well. Then we have main activity, though this one is not going to be like a folder. It's just going to be the main activity. I love creating main activity files a lot. So the purpose of this is to show the bottom navigation bar. You're going to see how I use it later in the project. So for now, let me leave that one like that. The next thing we are going to create now is the shared directory. So remember what I said about shared directory is shared resources across features. We are going to have our global widgets, global models, global services, global dialog as well that we can use across our features. So first thing here, I'm going to create widgets, and I'm also going to create dialogues, and you can also create models as well. So if we are needing them, we are going to create the different files inside of them. Then inside the features, we have our auth directory, right? So for instance, in our auth directory, we can create the data directory inside. So the purpose of this data directory is to have our models like auth models and auth repository. Then we have the presentation. So the purpose of the presentation is to have our views, like our UI elements, also have widgets, like local widgets that are related to that particular feature. Then we have our provider. So providers is where we write our state management code that is going to communicate with the UI. So inside the data, we have models.dat, where we're going to write our models and all those stuffs. Then we have our repository.dat. So we are going to be following this logic for every other features going forward. So I just want to give us a structure so that we know what to expect why as we are moving on. Okay, this is supposed to be models.dat. Yeah. So this works, and we are going to have our providers, our views, and widgets later on. So these are pretty much what we need and for all these stuffs. Okay. So now that the project structure is ready, let's customize the app by adding colors, assets, and utility extensions. So now let's set up a beautiful color theme for our app. So what we are going to do here, we are going to quickly go into our lib core, like create a new file. We already created the files already. So if you go to our lib, here we have lib core, right? So we have our theme. So inside the theme, we are going to create app color dot that. Okay, so inside this app colors, we are going to put all the colors that we'll be needing in this project. So I'll just grab this and put it here. So from here, we have this screen size. It's helping me to get the media query size. You're going to see how I'm using it later in the project. Then we have the app colors. This is the primary color, which is the blue color. We have the secondary color. We have the background color for scaffold. We have the dark gray color, gray, and every other color. So if we have more colors, we are going to include them inside this app colors directory. All right. I know this is not really a nice approach for now because we'll be using dark theme switching later on. So we are going to structure most of these things as we progress. Then another thing again I want to add is the extension. All right. So we need to add the different extensions that we'll be using for this project. So go to the lib directory, and here I'm going to add extensions.dat. So I already have all the extensions that will be needed for this project. So I know there are a lot. Here we have the extension for lib. So the purpose of this with this extension, right? Instead of writing sizebox.height, then we'll put the value maybe 20 in our UI every time. We can simply write 20 like the number size number in double dot height. You're going to see how I use that and later. It makes our code cleaner and more readable. All right. So we also have ellipses. So the purpose of ellipses is to show like this ellipses dot dot if the length is more than the specified max length, like if the string length is longer. So we are going to add ellipses to it. Then we have update extension. I'm using this for notify listener, right? You're going to see how I use it later. So we also have string capitalization. This is used to capitalize the first letter of a string, and this is used to capitalize every first letter of each word in string. Okay. We also have the number formatter for string. You format it in form of currency value like numbers and all that. We also have currency formatter. So I don't really think we'll be needing all these, but I just added them in case we fall into any kind of problem that we need it. Then we also have the format time. This will be used to format the time. And we also have another one to format the date based on year, month, and day. All right. So that's it for that one. The next thing we are going to add now is the various assets, right? Because currently we don't have assets for this. So I'm going to quickly grab our assets. So what we're going to do here, inside the assets, we are going to, I normally like creating, like we view this in Finder, right? That's what I usually do. And inside here, I'm going to create a new directory and I will call that assets. So inside this asset now, I'm going to copy the related files that paste them here. All right. So these are the assets. This is the logo. This is the onboarding, 1 onboarding, 2 onboarding, 3 onboarding. We have the streak black, full streak black, streak fire, and all those stuffs. So these are all the icons that we need for this project to be ready. So now if you go to our project, you will notice that the file asset directory has been added. So the next thing, we are going to go to our prospect.yml file, and inside here, we are going to reference the asset. Let's register it inside here by removing the comment on that and putting the assets here. Okay, so that's it. Awesome. So far we have successfully created a new Flutter project for this section. We have installed all essential dependency for this section. We have structured our app using clean code architecture, feature first MVVM approach. We have defined our theme colors, utility extension, and assets. All right. So in the next lesson, we are going to build our onboarding screen and authentication UI. So let's get started.